wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, guys. We of the 7 group will be presenting about classroom management in English for young learner class. I would like to introduce the member of my group. They are I, Hanggaini Prastiwi, study number 94. Fauriza Tahta Alfiantul Nasib Sa'dia, study number 108. Alfiani Khairunisa, study number 124. Rahman Arif Al-Fatah, study number 164. I will explain to the definition of the management classroom. Definition classroom management. Nell and Wells studied that classroom management is broader concept and generally indirected to effective and efficient learning. Classroom management can be defined as the teacher's ability to cooperative, manage time, space, records, and student roles and student behavior to provide a climate to overall learning. Classroom management is the basic teaching method for the teacher, especially when the teacher dealing with young learners aged 4-6 years old. Classroom management is a term teacher use to describe the process of ensuring that classroom lesson run smoothly despite disruptive behavior by students. Di sini, manajemen kelas dapat diartikan sebagai kemampuan guru untuk secara kooperatif mengatur waktu, ruang, sumber daya, dan peran siswa, serta perilaku siswa untuk memberikan iklim yang mendorong pembelajaran. Jadi, jelas bahwa tujuan pengelolaan kelas adalah untuk menyediakan iklim yang mendorong pembelajaran di kelas.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, I want to explain organizing the classroom and planning lesson. Teachers have many roles in the classroom. Two of the most important are planning lesson and organizing the classroom in the way facilitates learning. 1. Try to achieve a warm, friendly, relaxed atmosphere in which young learners feel comfortable, competent, and most important, secure. A physical organization of the classroom is quite important. In an ideal world, the classroom would have an area of easily movable desks and chairs, an open space for action, song, and games, a quiet corner for the reading of self-study. B. Create a stress-free English learning environment of the young learners. Neither teachers nor parents should push the young learners too hard. According to research, the first role of early childhood education should always do no harm. If program teaching learning to the young learners of damaging their self-esteem, creating pressure and stress on them. There is no doubt that these programs are inefficient and even harmful. As a result of the kind of education, English becomes a hatchet to a large number of the young learners who suffer repeat frustration in the learning, in which, in turn, detrimental to their self-esteem and confidence. 2. Role of organize and plan lesson effectively. A. Creating routines that the young learners recognize. Although it takes time to explain and to establish routine, they make the young learners feel insecure and save a lot of time and explanation in the long run. For example, mark the beginning of the lesson with a song or with a brief recall of the previous lesson. Stand with your hand raised until you have total silence and everybody attention. And then point at your watch to indicate that you are about to end an activity. B. Planning a series of activities per lesson. The content of a lesson depends a great deal on their age, abilities, and interests. It will be reasonable to ask a child of 6 to do tasks that demand a skill, a sophisticated control of spatial orientation if he or she not yet developed this skill. The kind of activities that work well are games and songs with action, total physical response activities that involve coloring, cutting, and sticking, simple representative stories, and speaking activities that have a obvious communicative value. Here are some points bear in mind. 1. The activities should be simple enough for the learners to understand that is expected of them. Next, the tasks should be within their abilities. Next, the activities should be large orally based with very young learners. Listening activities will take up a large proportion of the class. Finally, the activities should be changeable, some quiet, some active, some involving the whole class, some in pairs of groups. Also, you need to make sure the learners knew how to spend on an activity and set a proper time limit to the activity according to their attention span and make sure they know it. Secondly, use as much English as you can in class. Third, monitor individual, pair, or group activities. Move around among the learners, praising, encouraging them, listening for major problems, and helping them when necessary. Fourth, check on the task after pair or group have completed. Getting select learners to give example of what they say or report on what they did. C. Feedback. Feedback is an important, even a vital part of language learning process. It is a time in class the learners and teachers can look back at and reflect on what they have been doing. The feedback, two kinds of feedback which focus on 1. The language you have been working on. Second, the way the learners have achieved the task and their behavior, both individual in a group. As you get used to doing feedback, you will think of other way of getting your learners to reflect on themselves and their listen. You may be surprised on their capacity to be self-critical and their awareness of the teacher's aim and their own lesson process. Other rule: remember that ending a lesson well is as important as starting it well. It is often a good idea to end with world-class activities such as a chant, a song, or a quick game. It will allow you identify and hopefully resolve potential problems and will certainly help when you are called and to evaluate the learners.
My name is Alfiani Harunisa Suhada. My study number 124. Here I will explain about preventive approach to classroom behavior problems. It is wise to begin some course in a fairly formal or even strict way, and relax little by little as you can gain the cooperation of the group. But still, it is difficult for the teacher to teach and control the young learners at the same time. So, some preventive approaches to classroom behavior problems are needed. First, setting rules to keep discipline. Effective management requires teachers to define their expectations for their students at the beginning of the school year. Discipline is the main preoccupation of the teacher of the young learners. Many teachers find it necessary to establish a list of rules to make their expectations clear and to keep discipline. There are several examples of lists of rules according to Hanson and Ellison in 1999. And first, establish the list during the first few class meetings. Second, keep the list short and clear. Third, focus on learners' behaviors needed to achieve lesson goal. Fourth, state the consequence for breaking the rules and reward for following them. It is important to realize that rules do not become the norm but motivate students to become more disciplined. The next second, keeping proper and flexible moving pace of lessons. According to the 1970 Covenant found that the best classroom managers were careful to keep the lesson moving at a brisk pace. Inappropriate learner behaviors increase when the lesson becomes boring, so try to use topics and activities that you think will be interesting and enjoyable. Pendekatan pencegahan terhadap masalah perilaku dalam kelas. Dengan bijaksana untuk memulai beberapa cara formal, bahkan ketat atau santai dikit demi sedikit agar memperoleh hasil kerjasama dengan siswa, namun tetap saja masih sulit untuk mengajar dan mengontrol peserta didik, sehingga diperlukan beberapa pendekatan preventif terhadap permasalahan perilaku dalam kelas. Berikut beberapa pendekatan preventif terhadap permasalahan perilaku dalam kelas. Yang pertama, mengatur aturan untuk menjaga disiplin. Manajemen yang efektif mengharuskan guru untuk menentukan harapan pada siswa saat pembelajaran kelas berlangsung, sehingga banyak guru yang merasa perlu membuat daftar aturan untuk membuat siswa disiplin saat di kelas. Ada contoh beberapa daftar aturan menurut Hanson dan Ellison tahun 1999. Yang pertama, membuat daftar selama beberapa pertemuan. Dan yang kedua, buat daftar tetap dengan tepat dan jelas. Yang ketiga, fokus pada perilaku peserta didik yang diperlukan untuk mencapai tujuan belajar. Yang keempat, menyatakan konsekuensi bagi yang melanggar aturan yang telah dibuat. Nah, penting untuk menyadari bahwa aturan tidak menjadi norma, akan tetapi menjadikan motivasi bagi siswa agar menjadi lebih disiplin. Yang kedua, menjaga pelajaran bergerak dengan tepat dan fleksibel. Menurut Conin, tahun 1970 menemukan bahwa manajer kelas terbaik berhati-hati untuk menjaga pelajaran bergerak dengan tepat. Perilaku pembelajaran yang tidak pantas meningkatkan ketika pelajaran menjadi membosankan. Jadi cobalah untuk menggunakan topik dan kegiatan yang menarik dan menyenangkan.
I am Rahman Arif Al-Fatah, NIM 164, will present about solution to inappropriate behavior in classroom. Temporary isolation, the misbehaving learner is removed for a short time from the classroom activities. Response equals the removal of a quantity of reinforcement relates to a response. An effective teacher spends much time on preventing problem rather than solving problem. But in spite of every precaution and effort on your part, there is essentially a learner or a group of learners in a class who seem determined to make trouble. If you have most of the learners on your side, it is much easier to handle such situation. Using silence. Most teachers talk too much because of the responsibility for maintaining and guiding class interaction. But silence can be effective to discipline the learners. Think of a lesson. You are always talking, learners' attention decreases and they begin to talk with each other. When you suddenly stop speaking or start to speak softly with a loud voice, the learner's attention will be raised to you and the lesson because they want to know what is happening. Proximity control. During the lesson, if the teacher moves closer to a certain learner, it will have different meaning. According to Hansen and Hansen, first it means I am standing close to you. Second, I don't like your company. And the last, we have something in common. With this approach, you can control the learners with inappropriate behavior because the distance between you and the learner is very short. Teacher-learner converse. The learner who does change his or her inappropriate behavior in the class might have reason. In order to solve the problem, a teacher-learner converse after class is a good way. The success of the conference depends on the manner in which it is conducted. The teacher should be positive and calm instead of showing authority so that good communication with the learner can be made, which helps the learner make behaviors progress. Proper punishment. Sometimes you may need to ask some kind of punishment for a trouble made in the classroom, but never give a punishment that is harming on unreasonable and always right there, leaner into the group. After they have received a reprimand, this is important not just for the learner involved, but also for your standing with the group. The following two kinds of punishment might be effective. Response cause. It means the removal of a quantity of reinforced related to a response. For example, a teacher can take a learner's water pens away from his desk because he has painting his desk hands. Within the classroom environment, typical response could might be loss of tokens or privileges as part of a classroom management system. Many young learners teachers agree that the response cost is a very effective way to reduce inappropriate behavior. Next, qualities of a qualified classroom manager. All this means that primary language teachers have a much wider responsibility than the mere teaching of a language system. They need to bear in mind the education of the word cheat when planning their teaching program. 1. Be patient and tolerant and treat to the beginning of the term as a young learners have for self-control, ability, and for discipline awareness, which make them easily do something or of your expectation. You must be ready to accept their naughty behaviors and direct them with great patience and tolerance. Number two, be acquainted with your learners, the psychology and development stakes at social age, intellectual dimension, and know something about children's education. It is next to point out that teaching English to the young learners involves more than merely teaching language skill. Both social and cognitive development of learners as well as the linguistic need to be taken into account when planning for and working with the 5 to 8 group. Among many aspects, one point should be patient, be paid more the attention to more praise and less criticism. Human being, children and adults need to be liked, valued, and appreciated. This need happens to be especially crucial for young school children as they are still building their self-image from the significant people that surround them. More praise will enhance children's self-confidence and promote their performance in the classroom. Criticism make the classroom more demanding and sometimes ever frightening, in which your learner constantly feel extended, which contributes to poor performance. This in turn creates more anxiety and more performance. Thank you. Do you have any question for us? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.